Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are focusing really intently on the critical first step, the technique for accessing a truly coherent creative state of mind. It's known as induction.
Exactly. And we've synthesized a lot of material here. Neurological studies, self-hypnosis guides, some pretty advanced meditative practices.
And our mission today is really to help you quickly grasp the science and, the first foundational steps of what is actually a neurobiological shift.
Okay, so let's unpack this because when people hear meditation, they often just think, relaxation. But this is something far more specific.
It is. It's an actionable, deliberate process. It's designed to change your neurobiology right from the very beginning of your practice.
So this isn't just about feeling calm.
Not at all. I mean, induction teaches you the direct method to consciously regulate your own brainwaves. Think about your normal day-to-day. You're analyzing things, you're worrying, multitasking.
Right, that's the analytical state.
That's it. That state is dominated by high or mid-range beta waves. Beta is like the emergency mode. The analytical mind is fully engaged. So the goal is to shift out of that.
Precisely. The core process here is mastering that movement down, smoothly and intentionally, from that busy beta state into the much slower, deeply relaxed, and highly creative alpha or even theta state.
And that's a measurable shift.
It's totally measurable. The texts all point to the same thing: effective meditations, self-hypnosis. At their core, they're doing the exact same thing, guiding this frequency shift.
Okay, and before we go any further, we have to talk about the idea of a trance.
Oh, yeah. The elephant in the room.
You hear self-hypnosis, and people immediately picture some stage show, someone clucking like a chicken. We need to be super clear. That's not what we're aiming for.
Absolutely not. That's entertainment. The goal here is really the opposite of unconsciousness. You're learning to become more aware, not less.
So you're primed.
Perfectly primed, intensely focused, but also completely relaxed. And you're fully capable of proceeding with all the next steps of a really complex creative practice. We're aiming for coherence, and that requires full, balanced awareness.
So our goal for you, the listener, is that by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand exactly how to start this initial 20-minute practice. And that will let you build a really powerful, solid foundation for everything that comes next. All right, let's start with the absolute basics, the how. The prep seems so simple. Just sit up straight and close your eyes. But what's actually happening in the brain neurologically when you just cut off your sight?
Well, what's genuinely fascinating is just how fast the brain reacts.
Instantly.
Almost instantly. I mean, you've just blocked the biggest sensory channel, right? The input that's constantly feeding the analytical brain all this external data.
Okay.
And when that stream of information is cut off, the brain automatically starts to lessen its frequency. You're already beginning that shift away from beta and toward alpha before you've even really started.
Wow. But the real power is where you direct your awareness next.
That's where it gets interesting. The research highlights this really profound connection. The body and the subconscious mind are, for all intents and purposes, merged.
So induction uses the body as a doorway.
It's a tool, yeah. A tool to get past that critical analytical mind and get right into the body's operating system.
That sounds like a powerful shortcut.
Yeah.
But how does focusing on my body's position help me get past that firewall? I mean, I could focus on my body while running, but that just increases beta, right?
That's a great question and a critical distinction. Running engages the motor cortex. It keeps the analytical mind active. Beta stays dominant because you're focused on doing a task.
Okay.
What we're targeting here is way quieter, it's more internal, and it centers on one specific region, the cerebellum.
The little brain.
A little brain, exactly. And the cerebellum plays this huge role in proprioception.
Which is that deep awareness of how your body is positioned in space.
Right, your orientation in 3 dimensions. And it handles all that stuff, balance, spatial awareness, totally outside of your conscious analytical thought.
So this is where it gets really interesting. We're using spatial focus to talk directly to the cerebellum.
You got it. When you intentionally rest your awareness on your body's orientation, on the space it occupies, you are directly engaging the cerebellum. And since the cerebellum is often seen as the seat of the subconscious.
The place where habits live.
Exactly. This allows you to access that operating system directly. You just completely bypass the prefrontal cortex, the thinking, judging brain that's normally generating all those busy beta waves.
So it's like using a native access key instead of trying to hack the system.
Yeah.
You're shifting from thinking and analyzing to sensing and feeling.
Which is the language of the body, the language of the subconscious.
The mechanism.
Precisely. You're shifting your mode of attention. Beta waves, they're tied to a narrow, focused, often obsessive attention, but when you start expanding your focus to your whole body, to the space around it,
Mm.
you just can't maintain that narrow focus. You neurologically move from beta to the expansive state of alpha. You stop thinking about your problems and you just feel the present reality of your own existence in space.
That makes so much sense. Okay, let's talk about the commitment, because this isn't something you can just rush through.
The teachings are really uncompromising on this. Induction has to be the first step, every single session. And it's not a quick 5-minute thing,
It's 20 minutes.
a dedicated 20 minutes right at the start of every session.
20 minutes just sensing where your body is. For someone new to this, that's going to feel like a lifetime.
It will, for sure. And that's why the advice is to spend at least a full week of daily sessions, maybe even 2 or 3 weeks, doing nothing but induction.
Just the induction part.
Just that. Don't even worry about the next steps. You have to make this a familiar, comfortable habit. If you rush this foundation, the whole thing just crumbles.
And the goal isn't just to feel relaxed. What's the technical objective for those 20 minutes?
We're aiming for a highly coherent, organized alpha state. See, relaxation is one thing, but organization is the goal. The sources call this open focus.
Okay, what's that?
Think of beta as a single, narrow spotlight. Coherent alpha is like a floodlight. It illuminates everything evenly.
And the payoff for that.
It's huge. This organized focus creates this incredibly coherent signal across the whole brain. When we measure it, you see parts of the brain that were isolated, starting to synchronize, to communicate. And that powerful, organized waveform translates directly into clarity. Clarity in your thoughts, your feelings, and the energy you bring to your intentions. You're moving the brain from disorder to a powerful, organized broadcast.
All right, let's walk through the most detailed method in the material.
Okay.
This is the body part induction. This is the structure you'd follow for those 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The process is all about focusing on the location or the orientation of your body in space.
Mm-hmm.
You start at the top of your head and you move down.
Absolutely.
Right. And for each part, your scalp, your nose, down to your fingertips, your feet, you're not thinking about the part. You have to actively sense the density of it, or the weight, or the volume of space that it's occupying in this moment.
And you cannot rush this. You need to give a good 20, maybe 30 seconds or even more to each part. This isn't just a mental checklist, it's a sensory immersion.
So for my hand, for example, I'm feeling the density of it, maybe against the air.
Or the pressure of your clothes on your skin, or the volume of space between your fingers. It's the sensation of existing in space.
Okay, so once you've covered every individual body part, that's when you make this grand transition. You expand your awareness.
Yeah, you move from the skin inward to the space surrounding you.
And you become aware of this teardrop-shaped field around your body and the volume of space that it takes up.
This is a really profound moment in the practice. When you can sense that surrounding space, your attention is no longer on the physical, solid body.
This is where the source says you become less body and more mind.
Less particle, more energy. You're stepping away from the identity of the physical self, which is where all the worries about the past and future live. That's what generates those beta waves.
And the final step to complete it.
You expand one last time.
You become aware of the area that the entire room you're in occupies in space, sensing its total massive volume.
And that last expansion, that seals it. When you sense the volume of space on that scale, the neurological shift from thinking to feeling is complete. It becomes, basically impossible to maintain that restrictive, high beta state of survival mode. You're centered, you're organized, deeply relaxed, and now you're ready for whatever comes next.
Now, for anyone who prefers something more visual, there is an alternative method, the water rising induction.
Right. This one uses a bit more visualization, but the principle is exactly the same.
You're still observing and sensing the density of space, the space the room occupies and the space the water takes up.
You just imagine water moving into the room very slowly and gradually rising. You just follow its progression.
And the progression is key for the pacing.
It is. It rises to cover your feet, then slowly up your shins to your knees. It spills into your lap.
Up the abdomen, covering the arms, past your chin, lips, your head, until the water fills the entire room.
And, the material notes that people react very differently to this. Some people find the idea of being submerged a bit uncomfortable, but for others, the sensation is described as just soothingly warm and inviting.
But either way, the mechanism is the same. Tracking that rising volume forces the shift.
Exactly. It takes you out of beta.
Okay, let's synthesize this a little, because the language you use seems critical, especially if you wanted to record your own guided induction.
Absolutely. The language has to be sensory. It can't be instructional in that do this, do that kind of way.
So what kind of words should you use?
Your instructions have to emphasize specific sensory verbs. Words like sense, notice, feel, become aware of, become conscious of, and attend to. You're not telling yourself what to do. You're telling yourself how to experience.
And you have to pair those with that spatial vocabulary.
You must. To keep the analytical mind from taking over, you have to move beyond just relaxing your feet. You use terms like volume, density, the perimeter of space, the weight of space. That keeps your focus locked on orientation, not just anatomy.
And when you really commit to this, that 20 minutes every day, the payoff is it's experiential. The research says a really strong marker is you lose any sense of time passing.
That loss of time is the marker of true success. It means you've really moved into that calm, organized alpha state where your inner world is so much more compelling than the outer world, with all its demands and its
The
schedules.
inner world becomes more real.
Fundamentally more real and immediate than the external world. That's the goal.
So this deep dive, it's really given us the foundational roadmap. Induction is the critical, non-negotiable 20-minute practice you need to deliberately shift from that active analytical beta state to the organized creative alpha state.
And now we understand exactly how it works. By engaging the cerebellum through proprioception, that awareness of position and space, and by holding that sustained, expansive focus on space and volume, it's the key that bypasses the analytical mind and unlocks the subconscious.
It really is a striking concept. By focusing not on the body itself, but on the space the body occupies and the space around it, you generate this measurably coherent signal.
Mm-hmm. And that leads us to our final provocative thought for you to consider. If the goal of sensing the space around you is to become less particle, more energy, to step away from the limits of the physical body and create this highly coherent signal, what is the true measurable potential of that organized waveform when you then apply it to a deeply held future intention? And what personal or even physical limits can that power truly overcome?
Something profound to ponder during your next 20 minutes of induction practice. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.